6 and 6, where we cover 6 stories from around the world in 6 minutes or less. With that said, start your timer. We begin today down south in Brazil, where Finance Minister Fernando Haddad has signaled potential interest rate cuts, expressing confidence in the country's economic fundamentals. Despite ongoing inflation concerns, Haddad believes there is room for reducing rates and has praised the central bank's management of monetary policies. The statements reflect that the government's strategic approach to stabilizing economic conditions and that they want to foster growth. From Reuters, quote, "There is indeed room for rate cuts, and the opportunity arises from our stabilized economic indicators," Hadid stated. He further commented on the central bank's leadership, noting that they are, quote, "doing a good job in maintaining steady financial markets." The minister emphasized the tactical measures and sound economic management are crucial in addressing current economic challenges, end quote. Next, across the world in Egypt, the upcoming 2025 parliamentary elections are expected to heavily favor President Sisi's party, with numerous pro-government parties effectively eliminating meaningful competition. The electoral landscape has been systematically structured to disadvantage independent candidates, creating an environment where true opposition is essentially non-existent. These elections continue a pattern of carefully managed political participation that provides a democratic facade while maintaining tight control over the parliamentary process. From Reuters, quote, "The flood of pro-Sisi parties in the political arena underscores a new phase of Egyptian parliamentary politics, marked by what critics describe as a veneer of democracy. With the electoral system heavily stilted in favor of Sisi's loyalists, the space for true opposition or even independent voices has drastically shrunk," end quote. Now, back across the Atlantic in Canada, they have announced that it has lost a measles elimination status due to rising case numbers and challenges with vaccination coverage. The resurgence is attributed to vaccination hesitancy, waning population immunity, and disruptions in immunization campaigns. Health officials are calling for urgent action to address public health infrastructure and restore previous disease prevention standards. From Reuters, quote, "The loss of measles elimination status should be a wake-up call for the nation. It's not just about the presence of the disease, but also about the underlying issues with public health awareness and infrastructure that have allowed preventable diseases to return," Dr. Gillian Sanderson, an epidemiologist, said, end quote. Now, across the Pacific in Bangladesh, they are experiencing severe river break erosion intensified by climate change, which is displacing millions of people and threatening critical infrastructure and agricultural lands. The country faces complex challenges due to its geographical vulnerability, with increasingly unpredictable monsoons and rivers which behave and have continuous socio-economic disruptions. Government and international agencies are collaborating on developing strategies for sustainable riverbank management. From Reuters, quote, "The people who live in Bangladesh's riverine region are among the most vulnerable to the increasing impacts of climate change, facing not only loss of home and livelihood with each encroaching waterway, but also being forced into an unending cycle of displacement," end quote. Next, we travel further south, where Australian business activity demonstrated a promising recovery in October, with significant growth observed in both the service and manufacturing sectors. Business surveys indicate a resurgence in new orders and employment. From Reuters, quote, "The service sector, which has long been a cornerstone of Australia's economic landscape, has shown remarkable resilience and growth. This growth was evidenced by a significant rise in new orders and increased employment as firms sought to capitalize on rising demand," end quote. And lastly, we travel to Europe, where Salah Abdeslam, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, sir, the sole surviving member of the 2015 Paris terror attack that killed 130 people, is now under a new investigation exploring potential connections with extremist networks beyond France. After being arrested in Belgium in 2016 and receiving a life sentence in 2022, European authorities continue monitoring and investigating possible terrorist links across the continent. From Reuters, quote, "French judicial sources indicate that this investigation seeks to understand any potential links that Abdeslam might have with extremist elements outside France, reflecting ongoing concerns about the operational capabilities of terrorist networks inside Europe. And the probe underscores the commitment of security forces to thoroughly examine and neutralize potential terrorist connections, end quote. And of course, if you want to read any of today's articles, they'll all be linked in the description below that like and subscribe button. Also down there, you can find the podcast on Spotify, Pocket Cast, Podvine, and Apple Podcast. And if you want to find the links to these episodes, I post them on X with the Twitter handle at Your Daily Flip every Tuesday and Thursday. And then the normal podcast, I post the links there for the more U.S.-focused stuff on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So with all that said, there's only one more thing to say. Stay safe. Don't die.